Hi, I'm Smile, and today we are talking about self sabotage, why we do it, how we do it, and what can we do to stop it. Now, we all want to believe that we want the best for ourselves, but sometimes we still find ourselves in situations where we are self sabotaging. Why? I think the short and simple answer is cognitive dissonance. Now, cognitive dissonance, what it basically means is that the discomfort we feel from having contradicting beliefs and actions. So, your beliefs are different from the actions that you want to take for your growth, and that leaves you feeling really uncomfortable. I think the example for that would be, let's say that you have a deep rooted subconscious belief that you're not good enough and you have to work extra hard for love. And now this is a subconscious belief, but you find yourself in a situation, for example, let's say you're in a loving and caring relationship which does not require you to do anything extra to deserve love. It's just there, right? You will start thinking something's not right, I'm uncomfortable, something's not right, and you're going to pick up fights, you're going to break up. This is a self-sabotage behavior coming from cognitive dissonance. Now, whether this belief that you're not good enough or that you need to work extra hard to deserve love, or the fact that you come from some kind of a dysfunctional family, or if you've experienced abuse or trauma in your childhood, or even if you've experienced in your previous relationship, if you were meant to feel and you were told that you're really difficult to love, what all of these experience, what they do is they form this primary script in our minds. And when I say script, what I mean is the pattern of behaviors and beliefs that have been solidified. Now, it could be because of a parent or a teacher or a primary caregiver, but if we are told over and over again that you're not enough, you're not worthy, you do not matter, blah blah blah, whatever it is, somewhere we start to believe that. And especially a child's mind, because who else does a child have but their primary caregiver to look up to? And they start to believe that everything that is being told is real. So what we do is we try to modify our behaviors, to gain their love and attention and acceptance. We think that if I do this, maybe I'll get love, but it's never enough, right? And this happens especially, I'll give you two extreme examples, that if you're coming from a family which is dysfunctional, or if you've experienced some kind of abuse, what happens is those children, when they grow up, they start to attract similar relationships filled with toxicity, filled with chaos, because that's the only thing that they've known, right? That is what is familiar to them. Another example of the same kind of child, if they grew up, what will happen is they'll try to go on the other extreme. They will try to make the most perfect family. They'll try to be the perfect husband, perfect wife, thinking that if I achieve this perfect family, I will be happy. And all the while, they will be putting themselves and their needs at a zero. Now, both of these are very extreme examples, yes. But there is one thing that is common in this: low self-esteem. And the number one reason that we self-sabotage is because we are still operating from the same limiting beliefs that were either instilled in us or that we had to form for whatever the reason, right? And because these beliefs are in contradiction to the actions that we want to take to grow, we end up in a state of cognitive dissonance, okay? Now, self-sabotage does not happen because you don't love yourself, okay? You have to understand this. It's not because you don't love yourself. It is because your brain wants to stay in what is familiar to it. And you may have heard a lot of people say that, your subconscious mind, it doesn't know right from wrong. But here's the thing, it does know familiar from unfamiliar. So, if toxicity is familiar, if chaos is familiar, if struggle is familiar, or if seeking validation is familiar, you will end up putting yourself into those situations because that is what is familiar to it, right? Comfortable from uncomfortable, familiar to unfamiliar. And especially if you've lived in a survival mode for the longest, you will find yourself that you're still operating from that mode even when the threat does not exist. Yeah, so it's not really because you don't love yourself. It is only because when we try to change our actions, when we try to do something for our growth, we end up in cognitive dissonance, and there is that contradictory fight, these two sort of selves that happen, these fragmented selves, and sometimes the old beliefs, they win. So now that we know why we self-sabotage, let's understand how, because there are these sneaky ways that happens because we tell ourselves many reasons and stories. But let me explain how we self-sabotage in few examples. One of the most typical ways that we self-sabotage is that if there is something that is unfamiliar to us, something that is outside of our comfort zones, we will come up with a list of reasons why that is not good for us, why this will not work out. And then we tell ourselves, if it's not going to work out, why should I even waste my time doing it, right? I'll give you my example. The first, I think, this is years back now. I was just starting my painting business, and I was at that point where I was ready to sell, and I had decided that okay, now I think I'm ready to sell. I think people will be looking forward to buying my paintings. And I had this limiting self-belief that I am a tech gawar. And when it came to making my website, I told myself, how will I do this? At that time I didn't really have money to hire somebody to do this. So that limiting self-belief sort of just started playing in my head that you're a tech gawar. How are you even, what are you even thinking? And from there, I was speaking to my mentor and I was asking for some feedback on my first 14 paintings that I wanted to put out for selling. And he gave me some constructive feedback, but I saw it as that, oh, he's not appreciating me. He's, I've put in like hours, like 20 hours, 40 hours into making one piece, and it's still not enough. And, all of that, it all started sort of tumbling down. And from there, I told myself what I tell so many of my friends is that even rocket science is not rocket science when you put your mind to it. And I told myself that. And I went from not believing in myself that I can actually make a website and actually sell. Within a week, I had my website ready. I had understood how the dropshipping business worked and all of that. The difference in that week, the earlier mindset was, I do not understand technology. I want to be appreciated for my work, because it was such a vulnerable position to be in, right? Because you're going out, you've put in hours and hours and hours of your time into one piece, and you just want somebody to buy it because that will validate you. From there, from this belief, I went from, even if nobody buys anything, I'm fine. But if I can't hire somebody to make a website, I'll make my own website. So you see how that small limiting belief of I am not good with technology, how that made me feel that my art is not good enough. Our beliefs have that much of an impact. So, this is a sort of a happy example because I did end up making my website. But another way that we self-sabotage is by playing the victim. And what happens here is that we have this negative cognitive bias that is formed, that everybody is against me, everybody wants to hurt me. And I'm not saying that you may have not experienced trauma in the past, but let me tell you this, okay? Let's play a game. In this frame that you're seeing, how much of blue color can you see? Any items of blue color? And of course my jacket is blue color, but can you spot any other item of blue color? I'll give you a minute. Yeah? Spot it? How many items of orange color could you see? None, right? Because you were looking for the color blue. Now this is what happens with cognitive bias. When we are in this state of victimhood, that everything is against me, everybody wants to hurt me, that is all that we can see. And that is what your brain is going to do. It is going to validate all the beliefs that you hold. Another classical self-sabotage example I can give you is, let's say you have an important meeting the next day, or an important presentation in your job the next day, and your friends call you to drink, and you tell them, you know what, I'll just have 2 drinks and I'll be fine. But you end up drinking the whole night, you wake up exhausted, and whatever it is that you had to do on the job, you are not able to do that. And you tell yourself, it's okay. The thing is, the limiting belief here, it's not that you're an alcoholic. That's not the limiting belief. The belief here is that I do not deserve more. I am not worthy of more. Now these beliefs are not working on a conscious level, because you're not actually telling yourself I am not good. You want to do good in the job, you want to be able to give that presentation well, but because that core belief says that I am not worthy of it, it will find some sort of a reason to not be able to do it. Yeah, so whether it is going out with friends and drinking all night and it's not been able to do it, or maybe you'll watch some Netflix show or movie the whole night and be exhausted. Here's another example, okay? Let's say you want to open a restaurant and you have this dream of being a chef and working at this wonderful successful restaurant, okay? And you get stuck onto this dream, and you find places that you can rent, but you don't have the money, and you're in that struggling place. Now instead of going out there and, let's say, working at a restaurant for some, let's say, 2 years, saving up some money and working for the best people, seeing what they do and how they do and why they are the best, learning from them, you will tell yourself, no, I don't want to work for somebody else, that's going to take up my time and my dream will get left behind. It's classic self-sabotage, because if you do go and take that job, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life, right? You can earn the money, save, and put it into your business, your dream that you actually want to do. You can work with the best people in the industry, find out why they're the best, how they do what they do, and actually learn from them. But no, you're telling yourself, no, my dream is to open my own restaurant and that's the only way I want to do it. That is self-sabotage, because it may sound to you like something that is of passion, that's something that is of ambition, but if you're not taking the opportunities that will actually make you grow in what you want to do, that is self-sabotage. Because here's the truth, I'm not saying it's do or die. Opportunities do come, they come in multiple formats and in multiple ways, but opportunities, if you cannot spot an opportunity, if you cannot take the most advantage of an opportunity, those opportunities will become lesser and lesser. Because let's say you actually achieved whatever it is that you wanted to achieve, right? Now, because you're still operating from that limiting self-belief, you'll tell yourself, what did I even do to deserve this? Do I actually deserve this? I mean, did I just get lucky? You'll form this imposter syndrome, right? And having a lucky mindset sure is good, but if the limiting self-belief is that I am not worthy, even when you achieve something, you will find ways to sabotage it or not really truly accept it and grow further from there. Cool, so we've spoken about why we self-sabotage, we had some few examples of how we self-sabotage. Now, what can you do to stop it? First, change your story. And remember, we spoke about primary scripts. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they try to erase that primary script. They try to tell themselves that this is not me, this is not who I am, which is one way to go about it. But an easier way is to develop a new script. And there is a lot of talk in neuroplasticity about how we can form new neural pathways. And that is definitely, it has worked for me. But something that has worked even more wonderfully and even more easily is to modify my own story. And we've spoken about the 100 achievements list in my earlier video. It's called What to Do When You're Stuck in Life. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And there we speak about how to change our mindset to actually start looking at the things that we have achieved, because it's there, it's real. Right now you're just not able to see it, and because you're not able to see it, you're not able to believe it. So change your story, rather modify your own story, because I guarantee you, if you do the 100 achievements method, you will start to look at your own story differently. And this is what happened with me when I started to see my story from a perspective of strength. Everything changed, because it was a completely new story. Because now it wasn't the story of somebody who's been abused or mistreated and all of that, whatever I had in my mind. Now the story became of somebody who survived, who stood up, who worked on herself, who got better, who achieved so much, right? and everything changed. So first and foremost, change your story, because whatever we tell our mind to find the answer to, it will go and find that answer. It, whatever we believe, it will go and validate that belief, right? So changing our story, what that does is we start to look at things differently, and we start to realize that, oh my god, I've been living in a lie. Right? And right now, because we're talking about limiting beliefs, these are mostly subconscious beliefs, so you will have to dig deeper, not just on the surface. These It's not a self talk that you do with yourself on a conscious level. It is something that is deep rooted, and because it's so deep rooted, and our behaviors are 95% of the beliefs that we have. So look at your behaviors and try and understand what could be the belief behind this behavior. Look at yourself as this character, okay? And if this character is behaving a certain way, this just comes from acting, and because I am an actor, it gets a little bit easier. Look at this character from an empathetic way, okay? If this character is behaving this way, what could be the underlying belief that they have? Don't think of it as yourself, just this character, and be empathetic, and the answer will come to you, okay? So first was change your story. Now change your beliefs, and you can do it right now, okay? Whether you came from a dysfunctional family or you had a previous relationship that made you feel like you were so difficult to love, you can change it right now. Here's the thing, if I tell you, my mom hit me and my father hit me, so now that I have a child, I'm going to hit this child. You'll tell me, Smile, you've lost your mind, because whatever happened to you is not your fault, but whatever you choose to do today, that is your responsibility, right? That is exactly what I'm telling you. If you keep operating from your limiting beliefs, now that comes onto you, because what was done to you is not your fault, but what you choose to do today, it 100% is your responsibility. So you can change your limiting beliefs right now, because the truth is, you are abundant. You have a phone that you're watching this video on, or a laptop probably, or a TV, I don't know, okay? You probably have a roof over your head. So only when you start looking at it will you realize that whatever belief that you hold is not even true. And now, the most important point, you have to take actions to solidify your belief, right? Remember, we spoke about the triangle in one of my earlier videos. So there's thought, there's feelings, and then there are actions. So your thoughts and beliefs, they lead to your feelings and emotional state, and that emotional state makes you have an action. And when you take that action reinforces your thought. Now is the time for you to start solidifying this new belief, or this new script, and this new story that you want for yourself, because nothing will happen if you do not take the actions. Cool, so now I want to form a belief of somebody who has a higher self-esteem, because remember, we spoke about those two extreme examples, and one common denominator was low self-esteem. Now I want to change this belief, and I want to be somebody who's of a higher self-esteem. I have to think, how does a person of a high self-esteem operate? What actions do they take? When they get an opportunity to work somewhere for 2 years and learn and save money, do they take that opportunity, or do they tell themselves that, oh, this is going to be a lot of hard work, yeah, bahut mehnat lagegi, and I'll get distracted from my career? You will know your answer. How does this person, take challenges? Somebody of a higher self-esteem, do they look for validation? Do they look for appreciation? Or do they tell themselves, sure, I got this? Is this person, are they allowing themselves to ask for help when needed? Or a person of high self-esteem, do they actually think that if I ask for help, I'll be seen as lesser? I don't think so. I think people who have a high self-esteem, they are completely okay with asking for help, completely okay with accepting when they're wrong, and learning from their mistakes, right? So jot down these qualities and ask yourself, okay, what these actions am I taking right now, and what are the actions that I have to change? Because any kind of this inner work, self-improvement, growth, it's not easy, I mean, it can be easy for some people, it's easier on some levels, but I tell this to like all of my friends. when you choose something, you lose something. So if you're choosing growth, you will have to say no to your comfort zone. You will have to say no to all of those things that are keeping you in that bubble. And it's not going to be that easy. You will have your mind will start having this resistance towards it, because that's not familiar to it. Because that's okay. You can just tell your brain it's okay. Relax. Take it step by step. And even if you make a mistake, so what? Tell yourself, now my belief is I am somebody of a high self-esteem. So when a person of high self-esteem makes mistakes, they do not go into the victim mode. They do not go into the guilt trip and tell that, my God, I'm such a bad person, this whole world is against me. Rather, they look towards, how can I learn from this mistake? What can I do better? How do I accept this mistake and use it as an opportunity to grow, right? It's all about how you're looking at it. Okay, start little by little. Start to familiarize yourself with this new character and what are their beliefs and what are their actions. You will start to look at opportunities that you did not see otherwise. Okay. And just please get out of your own way. That is, I think, the crux of the whole video. And if you're still watching up until now, I think I want to tell you one very important thing that I keep reminding myself, is that you're not broken. Just because you come from a dysfunctional family, or you've experienced trauma, or the fact that in a previous relationship you were told that you're just so difficult to love, whatever it is, the truth is you're not broken. There is no fixing needed. That there is nothing wrong that is inherently in you. Okay, all we are looking at right now is growth, and outside comfort level and outside of familiarity there is growth. Cool. I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.